Okay, happy Thursday. Maybe you're in a different time zone or part of the world and it's a Friday for you. I don't know how all that works. Anyway, I don't know why I said that. So what we're going to talk about is, well, number one, I want to mention that some of our Discord people are watching this live on Twitch currently because I do post the link, and there are going to be some questions that I'll cover from them from time to time. But aside from that, I want to prove, number one, that smart money is re-entering the market, that they are accumulating. Now, does that mean that the market's going to go up right away? It could. We don't know for sure what's going to happen. We could have a breakout. Historically, and I'm going to show that on this chart right here, historically, when the presidential election and halving is involved, there's a lot of chop in between those two moments in time. And then even a month after the U.S. presidential election, it could kind of lag or just go sideways. But I would say anytime from now until a month after election, we're going to get some kind of breakout. I feel pretty confident about that because that's how it's always worked. So this is the time to accumulate. Your token could chop around some more. You could buy and it could dip a little bit more, just go sideways, whatever. But in general, what we're looking for is that October move from last year, right? We want to see another big move like that. So we're going to look at that. And I'm also going to answer a question that I had in a different Discord that I'm a part of. I kind of help out the Braver Discord. And somebody had a question about when the altcoins would top or what that's going to look like, what indicator to use. So we'll look at some ideas on that as well, using history to help guide us. So let's see. Okay, first, well, I always want to mention this isn't financial advice. And the reason I say that, of course, it is a lawyer type thing. You don't want to get in trouble for providing financial advice if you're not in that industry. But also, I like to mention this because you need to remember that you don't want to be throwing money at risky assets or risky things in general. If you've got a family to take care of, you got bills to take care of, try to get out of debt if you can. And then if you got some extra money, take that risk. So only risk what you can afford to lose is the idea there. This is from Nansen. It's a query that I've talked about many times before, and I've been mentioning on both Twitter and in our Discord group. Where else have I mentioned it? YouTube. That when this purple line here starts to flatten out, that generally means that we found a bottom. Now there is kind of I guess I gotcha on that. Sometimes when it flattens out like this, it can come up back to this blue line and then reject one more time. So there is the possibility that we're going to have a small mini pump. Well, we're actually in it right now, right? We're having a small mini pump. So it'll come up to the blue line. It could reject, but then on that next bounce, when it comes down and bounces back up, it'll take off. Now, when the purple line actually crosses above the blue line, that means that the uptrend has already started. So in my mind, this is all accumulation, and I'll show you. Let's see here. What is this, August to October? If we just go back to the Bitcoin chart here, what did I say, August to October, September? Okay, so kind of right in here. I mean, look at this. This was the bottom, right? Like if you look at altcoins, sure, Bitcoin took off ahead of time, before the alts for the most part. The majority of the alts, 90% of them, didn't take off until Bitcoin had this big candle, this big breakout of this resistance area right there. So it had a big breakout, alts followed, but this was your accumulation period, right? You wanted to buy as cheap as you could, and you could have even been buying over here. That would have been fine. You just had to wait for a little bit. But I mean, you can clearly see that this works, right? Because that's this area right here. And then finally you got the purple area break above, and you had a really strong uptrend at that point. Every single altcoin, I don't care what it was trending up during this time. And then when this happened, and our people in our Discord got all this information ahead of time. I try to post it on Twitter as quick as I can, but I was also telling people to get out of the market really at the start of March. So I was a little bit early, but I was telling everybody as it kind of progressed more and more that by the end of March was probably the time to be out, and that's exactly what happened. And you could have actually seen this. You could have waited till the start of April even for this purple line to cross down. Now, this is Nansen Alpha. It costs a lot of money to get access to this, but I provide these insights to our Discord because we use their membership money to help pay for this. I think it costs us like $10,000. So there's not a lot of groups that would do that for their members, but we're trying to get the biggest edge. I mean, to me, I'm just another member, even though I run the thing. I'm just trying to help people out with the knowledge that I know, that I've accumulated over 8 years of trading. We're just a team there. We all help each other out. So if you're interested in that, it's in the description below. So yeah, you'll get early information like this. So this is what we've been waiting for. I mean, you can see the purple line, which is going down, down, down. There was no reason to get back in at this point, other than memes. You could have played memes during this time, and we did. But we're getting this flattening out now, right at the entry threshold, and I feel pretty good about this. Just disregard everything that's going on with the economy. Inflation's bad, sure. I wish it wasn't there. I wish our standard of living was better, but that's the fault of our government, really. We have to lay it at the feet of the government. We just do the best we can. We try to invest and make money, and that's what we'll continue to do. So that's that view. Here's another view to prove that smart money is coming back into the market using Nansen. Here's USDT, and there is a centralized exchange inflow of $110 million in the last 24 hours. So that's 3 times, is that 3 times? No, I think that actually says 3,000 times the recent average. I don't know, it depends. I can't remember if it's using a comma as an actual comma, like we do here in the US, or if it's using it in terms of the way the UK uses it as a period or a point. Anyway, I think it is 3,000. So that's 3,000 times the recent average, because there hasn't been money flowing into the markets, right? I mean, people have just been holding money in their cold wallets, cold storage, and now they're finally starting to send money back in. And these are numbers that are so high that it has to be, larger players, right? I mean, it's not like it's just a bunch of small accounts like most of us are. And that's just how it is. I mean, they have a ton of money. Even somebody in our group that might have $500,000, $1 million, we're still a small fish compared to them. They're sending like 50 million at a time. Okay, so I might go back into Nansen here in a second just to kind of show some tokens that we can look at. But first, so let's see, we talked about this. We're just waiting on historically to see if it's going to break out like it has every single time around election time. You can see right at election is when the breakout, well, sorry, actually this happened about a month later. Yeah, so that's what I was talking about. The real breakout, there's a slow climb and then a real breakout right here a month after election. Right here it actually happened before the election, just barely. And so, we'll just have to see what happens on this one. It could happen after as well. And then Bitcoin, I'm just trying to think here how I want to do things. And again, everybody that's watching on live stream in our group, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm trying to think if I want to get into the altcoin thing on how to, yeah, let's just get into it real quick. Because, let me mention this. So let's say, Bitcoin's doing fine right now, right? We've got a buy signal. This is on the daily chart. Our resistance for this expanding wedge, which really this is just a bull flag, right? If you really step back, or even if you just go to like a weekly chart, it's pretty clear that that looks like a bull flag. This was a bull flag. This was kind of more of a triangle, I guess. This was technically a bull flag during the March 2020 thing. Obviously it was crazy, but it was. Anyway, this thing is bullish even on the weekly still. There hasn't been a sell signal. But if we go back to daily, there's been a lot of buy-sell signals on Engineering Robo AI here, which, by the way, if you are interested in this indicator, it is a good indicator. I've got the description, or in the description is how you get access to it. All you have to do is go to the free trial portion if you want to do a free trial for 7 days, and post your order number to me, and I will I'll make sure that you get access to the, actually, you know what? If you use my link, I forgot about this. If you use the link in the description, the creator of this has actually set it up, and I think I'm the only one he's doing this for, where you automatically get access to the AI version. So scratch that. You don't have to send the order number to me. Just click the link, do your free 7-day trial, and check it out. See if you like it. Do your back testing, all that. So what I'm looking for is we have to get the daily candle close above this top blue line right here, because that's the resistance currently. We are bullish. I mean, it's definitely bullish right now, but we don't know if this ceiling is going to reject us again. And if it does, then, initially I had put that this would be an area where the alts would bounce if we did get down this low. I don't really know if this is even possible at this point. The only way I could see this happening is if we just got some kind of quick last correction down and it dropped below this line. But I mean, there's a lot of support here. You got a lot of wicks right here coming down. It's kind of doubtful that it would get under 52K at this point, but it could. I mean, anything's possible, right? It could have a quick move down and then pop right back up. I don't think that it would stay down here long if it was to happen like that. But I mean, this is kind of far-fetched at this point that something like that would happen. So what we'll be watching, by the way, is if we get a sell signal here, which we've got automated signals in our Discord, so we'll know each day what's happening. So if we lose this level, we're just going to watch the levels basically. And losing this one, then it would definitely come down here. But any of this can happen until even a little bit after the election. So maybe there could be some kind of black swan. I don't know. But as long as these levels hold up here, I don't expect anything like that will happen. All right, what did I want to talk about? Okay, so let's just get in real quickly. I want to answer that question somebody had about how to determine. I mean, there's a lot of different indicators you can use, right? How are you going to determine how to get out of the market, with your altcoins? How are you going to know when the top is? Well, the best way is you watch Bitcoin first. And I'm going to show you some historical context here that I've talked about before. We are on the weekly chart. So the reason I'm on the weekly chart is because it's going to simplify what I'm about to say instead of me going on the daily chart where there's a lot of chop, because I want you to understand the concept. I've talked about the 30-70 rule a lot on RSI down here. And if you want to bring up RSI on your own chart, all you got to do is type RSI, Relative Strength Index. So what you're looking for here is, let's say, you're in this uptrend and I mean, there's no clear top just yet, although you've had a little bit of a correction here and you're wondering, is this thing coming down? Well, anytime you're in the 70 RSI range here up above this top line, that's extremely bullish. Yes, it is overbought as well, but it's extremely bullish and there's no reason to sell until it gets back below the 70 line. Now, if this move had happened here and this rejection at 70, see how it rejected right there? It was coming up, hit its head, and then it came back down to the 50. Now let's say if it actually kept going below 50 and then it came back up and rejected 50 and then started coming down again, that would be your signal to sell. And what I mean by that is this. So look, okay, so look here. This was the first top back in, 2021? Yeah. So May 2021, you have all of this descending, all of your momentum is coming out of the market while price is going up. This is what we call a bearish divergence. You lost the 70 RSI, which is a signal on the weekly. It kind of bounced off of it there, but it eventually lost it, and then it created a lower high right here below the 70. So that was a rejection of the 70, basically. Let me remove this line to where you can see it better. So here's what it looks like up close, right here. So that's a lower high below the 70. Your momentum's still coming out. You could have taken profit right there, and that would have been right at the top. Now things kind of kept progressing here, right? And there was another top, which I did get in right here. I alerted people on Twitter to get in at this very bottom. I think it was the day of the bottom, or when it was starting to take off again. And I mean, that was a very risky play, right? Because this may not have held, but you can see how all these wicks are happening here at the bottom. So there was a lot of buy action here. And if Bitcoin is bullish, then alts are bullish. So once you got this big candle, pumping out of here, then all the alts were moving as well. So I jumped in at that point, and we got back above the 50 RSI. Now, the point I want to make here is that I did say if it gets below 50 and then rejects 50, then that's the time to get out. So this was kind of a fake out here, right? So you probably would have stayed out here, but as soon as it crossed back above 50 RSI, you were back in. So now what happens if you're back in? Well, now you're watching to see if the 70 RSI is going to reject. It did. Now you're going to see if the 50, maybe you're in already here, right, again. Now you're going to see if the 50 is going to reject after it breaks below it. It did. So you could have gotten out here, or you could have gotten out here. And sure, you wouldn't have got the exact top, but look at all the drawdown you would have saved yourself from. And that's the goal. You want to save yourself from drawdown. So even on the weekly chart, look how much Engineering Robo would have saved you, or look how your RSI method would have saved you. I'm trying to think of any other indicators you could use. I mean, here on the daily chart, you could have gotten out a lot sooner, actually. But again, there's quite a bit of chop. So there was a buy signal down here. You could have gotten out there on this sell. You bought back, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. So you would have been out way up here with, with Engineering Robo. But you have to treat it like, you have to trade like a robot, basically. You sell and buy when it tells you to. The only way that you could just keep holding through all this is if you went up to a weekly chart. So you could buy, one method would be you buy on a daily chart and then you sell on a weekly chart. And that would allow you to stay in longer. Or you just use the RSI method. So, go back, rewind that, kind of look through it, see if you have any questions about it. I know it might be confusing if it's the first time that you're, going through something like this. But you can see, if we're looking at it in current terms, this would have been a sell signal right here. Look at that. Perfect 70 rejection. So you're extremely bullish. It did come under 70, but it kept going up again. So you stayed in the play. And now it lost 70, rejected 70. And it would have taken you a couple of weeks to notice that it actually rejected it, but you're out somewhere in there. And that was very close to the top. So that would have been a really good play, right? You're in here, you're in way back here at the cross up of the 50 RSI. So I just want to make it clear that you could use a free indicator like RSI on a weekly chart and do very well for yourself. But with an indicator like this, Engineering Robo, it does make it easier for you because you don't have to watch stuff like this. You just follow the signals. But, again, daily chart's the better one to use if you're following something like Engineering Robo. And all you got to do is check in. Like I tell people in our Discord, just check Engineering Robo alert channel every day. And that's right here. Where is it at? So we've got all our buy and sell signals showing up every day on a bunch of different alts, on Bitcoin. And you just check it once a day after close, which is, 7 hours from now is the next close. And we may see some more, AI buy or AI sell signals. And that's all you have to do, is just check it one time a day. It's really easy. So if you're a busy person, that's the way to do it. Okay. So I think that's all I wanted to say there. Let me see if, there's definitely a lot of other indicators you can use. Somebody was mentioning it to me, the super trend indicator that works pretty well too. So, if you don't have any money that you can spend on indicators, that's fine. I'm not trying to sell anything to anybody. I just want people to do the best they can in this market. So there's this super trend indicator, this top one. And, it does a good job of giving you buy sell signals as well. So it's pretty similar to Engineering Robo, but that's only on the daily chart. If you go down, well, they did a pretty good job on the weekly chart as well, I think. Yeah, fairly good. If you go down to like a 12-hour chart and try to get in early or get out early by going down a little bit on your time frame, nothing can compare to Engineering Robo AI. So yeah, there may be some similarities to super trend on daily for, between it and Engineering Robo AI. But if you step down below that, Like Engineering Robo AI can even allow you to scalp with success at a 5-minute chart. There's no way Supertrend can do that. So just understand that it really just depends on what you're looking for in an indicator. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about next, let's see. Epi had a question. Current thoughts on our usual suspects. Great insight on use of RSI to time entry exit. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I mean, it's really simple once you really get experience using it, but at first it's going to be confusing for some people, of course, because it just, it's all about experience, right? You just got to do things more and more until you get proficient at it. So yeah, our usual suspects, I assume that you're talking about things like Boson or a lot of our spreadsheet plays. Let's see here. We can bring up a few of these. What's some of our long-term? We could look at cubic. Yeah, let's just bring up a few of these. Hopefully the chart, I'm going to take this off screen for a second. Hopefully the charts show up on some of them. And then we'll look at Nansen. What else? Oh yeah, cubic doesn't, I don't have a linked chart on that one, but I can bring it up. Same for SMH. Here's KAS, ORI. Here's Rio. AIPG, ENQAI. Okay, so here's a couple. I mean, if there's any specific that you want to look at, just let me know. Currently, let's just talk about ENQAI here, because I think this is pretty significant as far as what we just talked about. We're clearly above the 70 RSI. What reason would you have to sell right now? None. Just let your token run, because it's very simple at this point. All you have to do is just wait for RSI or, a sell signal, of course. Wait for your RSI to break back below 70. When it does that, that's your signal to look at the chart and say, okay, and I provide these take profit areas. Hopefully they hit, hopefully they're, like say for example, if 70 RSI was to cross down and we were hitting TP1 at that time, might be a good time because there's some confluence there to take profit. So, if you get a 70 RSI cross down in ENQAI and then it rejects a 70, that would be a profit take. If it keeps coming down to 50 and breaks below it and then rejects 50, that would be a profit take. Actually, if it breaks below 50, it would be a time to consider getting out of it completely as well. So, consider also that anything above 50 RSI is bullish, anything below 50 RSI is bearish. So, you need to keep that in mind as well from a macro perspective. So that one's looking real good. I mean, ENQAI has just been kind of a loser for a long time, but it seems like it might want to hang around. I'm still holding some of it, but I bought it way back here. So, or maybe I bought here, I don't remember. But anyway, my point is, I think that it's not done yet. Maybe this is the bottom. The only thing I don't like about it currently, why is that not working? Hang on. Okay, there we go. So social intelligence score, people are talking about it on Twitter, on Reddit. It's not the strongest signal, but it's almost, it's the one right before it. You've got a buy signal and you've got a retrace of that buy signal. So it's still in the green. This could be a perfect opportunity to buy if you wanted to take a risk on it. It's trying to hold on to the 50 RSI. So, it might just end up being a really, really nice buy for you. I can't say for certain that it's going to make TP3 at this point. It could. I feel pretty confident that if this is the bottom, it'll at least make probably TP2. That would be a 12x. But that's a big if, right? I mean, what we're looking for is, I'll be honest with you, I don't trust any altcoin at this point. I've seen the inside of how tokens are created, how teams can dump on people, how greed can affect people's mentality. And what I mean by that is, there's the possibility there that a team for any project can just take the money and run at any point, right? They're just human. Greed can affect anybody, no matter how moral they are. So I would just say be careful with any token. Trust the signals that you're watching, whether it's RSI or a paid indicator, and take profit when it's there, right? I mean, don't round trip your play, because there is going to come a time where this macro bull trend is going to be done. This next uptrend, whenever it happens, it'll be done and all altcoins will go down again. So don't round trip your bags this time is the moral of the story there. So yeah, just trust your instincts. If you lose 50 RSI, just get out of it. You know, say if you buy it here and it comes down and it's still below 50 RSI, just get out and then wait till it gets back above. Always protect yourself from the downtrend. I will never push any token on you. You know, even if I'm in it, I'll never push it on you. I'll let you know when I'm buying it, but I don't trust any of these tokens. So, you know, I'm just going to trust the indicators. This one looks good. This is Rio, one of the best RWA plays. We had this support line way ahead of time. It wicked down to it. This was a perfect buy. You even had another buy signal there. It got above the bullish line. Yeah, I mean, this could reject 70 RSI, but it's looking pretty strong right now. So if it gets above 70 RSI, it's going to push up to this area here where it initially rejected. And if it gets above that, then it's going much higher. And I've got some other TP areas as well on that. These are on our spreadsheets or in our Discord. You know, these chart links are always there for you to see. The only thing you wouldn't be able to see is the engineering robo signals unless you actually have the paid indicator package. Okay, so let's see. Let's see, PEIPEI. So I'm getting some questions from some of our Discord people in Twitch here while I have it live, while I'm recording this. So let me pull up. I think I have MAGA up there already. Let me get rid of these. I think I'll show KAS maybe. Ander doesn't look good. Boson's a good one. Okay, there's MAGA. Oh, let's take these one at a time real quick. I guess I better bring them up before I forget them though. So I've got a list that I'm going through here that people would like to see. Let's see, PEIPEI, TITANX, SNSY, CSPR. I guess I don't have a chart for TITANX yet. Yeah, some of these aren't going to have lines on them because I haven't created a chart for them, but they are on our signal channel. CSPR. And then what else do we have? PEIPEI. Okay. So we'll bring up PEIPEI here. Can't spell. All right, there we go. Let's start from the beginning. I just want to make sure I've got them all. Okay, yep. So one question is, I'll get into MAGA here in a second because it's election related on this question. As soon as I get to it, I'll answer that. So here's SNSY. I am in this one. I bought it once I saw this sell or this buy signal. Actually, I waited a couple of days just to see if it was going to retrace it, and it did. Sometimes it just takes off after the buy signal, but other times you get like a 50% retracement and then it's ready to go. As long as it's above this bullish line, I'm good with it. And, you know, RSI looks real good. We're above 50. Now, if it comes up and it rejects 70 RSI, then I might consider, well, I'll take a little profit out or something. So yeah, I mean, AI intelligence score is a 5. It's strong. People are talking about it. So only the short-term time frames are bearish currently. Here is Boson. This is a very strong RWA play as well. I think it is, or is it AI? Anyway, we've got 3 spreadsheets of AI and RWA. I just can't remember which one this is. I think it might be RWA. Buy signal above 70 RSI. If you're in this one, just keep holding it for now. Here is KAS. I was letting people know on KAS that, you know, it's been up only and it probably needs a correction. And if you consider what Bitcoin looked like back in 2021, where it just had marginally higher highs and then it started creating higher, lower highs, like if you look right here, whoops, where is that at? If you look right here somewhere, yeah, there we go. So, you know, marginally higher highs, momentum slowing down, and then you get your first lower high. It's kind of what KAS is doing. I'm not saying it has to come down, but I think it's suspect. Look here, you've got a rising wedge. Here, I'll put some lines on it. I'm not in KAS, by the way, and I'm not FUDing it either. But I just want people to consider that this is, the momentum slowing down on it. This is a bearish divergence. So, if it gets below this bullish line right here with a weekly or a daily close, then I think it's time to consider that you probably want to be out of it, or at least take some profit. I mean, if you've been holding from down here and you haven't taken profits, what are you doing, right? I mean, this is crazy not to take profits on this big move. Okay, so let's talk about MAGA. All of the Trump memes are a good risk. If you're talking about, I mean, there's prop bets on who's going to win the election, right? In Vegas, maybe somebody there has an insider, some insider stuff on it, who knows? But just be aware that if you're wanting to, hang on a second, I'm getting a phone call here. I got to make sure it's not important. Let me turn this off. Audio input, yeah. Okay, give me 1 second, sorry. Okay, sorry about that. I've got an elderly mom and dad that, they're not in the best shape, so I have to check sometimes. So let's see. So MAGA, I would say, yes, I think it makes sense to take a risk on something like this, just because if he was to win, if Trump was to win, and the flip side, Kamala, I mean, maybe some of the Kamala memes would take off as well. I'm not a very political person because I think it's a huge waste of time. I think politics just divide people, just like race does, and I refuse to be a part of any of that. I will vote just because I don't care about the person. I don't care what the person personally believes. I care about what they're going to do for my country and for me personally. But I do think that politics was created just to divide people. So I don't like to participate in all the, right wing, left wing, name calling, stuff like that. It's a huge waste of time. So the chart itself, it's really difficult to say what it's going to do just yet, because it did lose the 50 RSI. It is continuing to reject the 50. So technically it's bearish, which is pretty obvious here, looking at this, even though it has a buy signal. So I guess maybe it's just going to go sideways for a while. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there is some support right in here, but there's also some support down here. I would suspect that if we did get some kind of correction, one more correction, you'd probably see this thing come down one more time. So it's really difficult. I mean, technically it's bearish. I would just maybe wait till the RSI got above 50 maybe. But also at the same time, it is technically correct to purchase it now based on Engineering Robo, because it did most recently have an AI buy signal. But if you got a sell signal, then you want to get out, So hopefully that makes sense. TITANX, let's see. So I think I bought, one of the people that help out in our Discord, they mentioned this project to us, and I think I got in maybe somewhere here, or maybe it was a little bit higher, I'm not sure. As long as it holds 50 RSI, I'm in. As long as there's an AI buy signal, I'm in. Things look pretty bullish right now. I've talked about on our Discord some conservative targets, and you could just use fibs to find those. But let's just say it keeps going. Your first profit take could be like 3x from here. So, just keep an eye on it. As long as it's above 50 RSI, you're good. CSPR, let's see. This is an older token. I will say on the older tokens, as long as it hasn't had a full bull market, then it's probably an okay token to invest in if it looks good. It did break above 50 RSI here, so technically this is a place to buy it, even though there's no buy signal yet. But if you were to come back down and it lose 50 again, then you just get out. So I could see the case, even though there's no buy signal here, I could see the case being made for buying here for sure, even though it lost its major level right there. Just remember, if it loses a level like this, maybe something like that, it'll probably reject there on the way back up, at least once. You know, maybe it does some kind of inverted head and shoulders and then it takes off. But these levels are important. Yeah, I mean, technically that is a bullish divergence. You got price action coming down, momentum's coming up. So as long as your 50 RSI is holding, that's a good buy. Or you could say something like this. Okay, that's my support line somewhere in here. If it loses that support line with a daily candle, a full daily candle below that, then I'll just get out. And then if it gets back above it, I'll get back in. So everything you're doing, you're trying to limit your exposure. You're trying to buy at support lines whenever you can. And if it loses those support lines, you have a lower risk. So maybe you just lose 10 to 20% of your holdings. You get out. What if it goes down like, 30% more? Well, you didn't have to deal with that downtrend, right? Or that drawdown. Okay, PEIPEI, yeah, looking really good here. Looks like a triangle breakout, well above the 50. It's going to be interesting to see what happens at the 70 RSI because there are some levels up here that it could reject from, which I would suspect are somewhere around here. I mean, that's a really strong move. Sometimes when you see that, it needs some rest time, come down 50%, and then it's ready to move again. Notice how it had a lot of wicks up right here. That is actually I called it up here, but it's probably more like this. There's probably a resistance area like this, like right in this area. So I would say once it hits that line, it'll probably be hitting the 70 RSI at the same time. If you get a rejection, that would be a profit take area. Or you could just wait for the AI sell signal to show up as well, if you have engineering robo. Okay, so that's PEIPEI. What else? Yeah, we covered all of those. Okay, so let's just look. Yeah, you're welcome, Epi. I'm just responding to some people in the chat. So let's just take a really quick look as we wrap up here. And feel free, if there's people watching that aren't in our Discord, feel free to ask questions below. I'll gladly answer them if something wasn't clear to you. One thing that I do watch is token inflow on Nansen. And this is the first page right here. It's interesting because when the market is not doing well, this first page of token inflow of smart money, and inflow just means that money is flowing into that specific token. It means people that are considered smart money buyers that have a good track record and are profitable. It just means they're buying that token, okay? That's all that means. If this page has mostly tokens, regular tokens, then that means the market's doing well. If this page has mostly staked tokens like WETH or any kind of token that you just put your money into to gain whatever, to gain money on while the market's not doing so well, you're just staking your token. You'll see a lot of those show up here. So right now it's clear that the market's doing very well. You got things like PEIPEI and Doggo, and like this is a stake token, by the way. I think it looks like a stake token. I've never actually heard of it. But anyway, disregarding this, most of these are just regular either memes or whatever. So the other thing I look at is how much money is coming into the market over the last 24 hours for these tokens. And this is really strong. This is over 100,000. Page 2 is a little bit weaker. What I look for is how many pages are above 10,000. And we've got page 2 there. Okay, so page 3, we get down below 10,000. So could the market be reaching like a very short-term top before it needs a little bit of a rest going into election? Sure. I mean, I think that could be happening. And that's why I watch this. I mean, you see MAGA is about 15K. We just looked at that one. So there is some money coming into these, but the market in general, all of the altcoins together, there's some winners, but it's probably only 5 to 10% right now. Most of them are still struggling. Yeah, so getting to page 4, we're still under 10,000 as far as the money coming in over the last 24 hours for those tokens. So things are trying to turn around, and I'm definitely seeing that smart money players are investing more money right now. They're accumulating. So I don't think that we're quite ready just to blast off. It could happen after the election, like it has historically. So I think it is a good time to accumulate, but just continue to accumulate slowly is the way I'm doing it. So I think that kind of covers everything I wanted to talk about. I don't want to make this too long. If you got any questions, our people in Discord that are watching this, feel free to ask in Discord. And let me just make sure real quick there's not any questions before I end this, because there could have been one. Okay, yeah, there's not. So yeah, we'll do another one of these next week. And just in the meantime, ask questions in the YouTube comments or in our Discord, and I'll try to cover as much as I can. And y'all have a good weekend. Thanks for joining. And let's see here, forgot to ask about SNSY. Yeah, I actually talked about SNSY right here. Just if you want to go back in the video and watch it, or I'll talk about it in Discord. Okay, I'm going to end it there, guys. Thanks for joining, all those that were here from the Discord, and we'll see you back in the chat there. Take care.